Okay, simple tools, I call it simple tools, and I can't stress enough how many of these you need. Whenever they go on sale at wherever you are, Home Depot, Lowe's, or if you're off in Singapore, they've got, I think they have Lowe's in Singapore, don't they? Fashion TV will know. When they go on sale, go and grab a bunch of them. Seriously, I have 60. And there's times when, you know, you're going, I only got 5 left over here. I got to make it work. Seriously, you clamp things all the time. Big ones, medium ones, and those little bitty ones, you can't have enough of them. How many stands do you need? 1 more than you have. Minimum 5 for product photography. And you need the little booms. They set up there, Brett? Little boom arm? Yeah. These little guys here, these are the Luma Pro boom arms. And I like them because they're also called reflector holders. But in the studio, I do so much now with speed lights. I really am, most of my lighting right now is pretty much half big lights and half speed lights, because I'm getting the speed lights in really close to create the kind of look that I like. I like little tiny gridded areas on my still lifes in my product. And it's part of a style, okay? So I use a lot of these. I have 4 of these. I have 4 of the other kind. You'll see those tomorrow. And I've got 6 big studio booms. So I have enough booms to make my life easy, because the more, see how close this stand is to this table? That's dangerous for me. I want all my stands to be out there and my lights to be in on the table. So start small, work your way up. You can make a nice boom out of a piece of black PVC pipe. We bought this yesterday so we could show you. Thank you, sir. A piece of black PVC pipe and a clamp at one end, and you can clamp things onto this thing and clamp it in the middle with 2 clamps or a super clamp. A Bogan super clamp are great, and you've got a little boom. This is $1.39, and it's very solid. And you can use it to conduct light. Oh, wow. So all these are the little tools that you really have to have. But to start out in product photography, you don't need to start out, obviously, with pro photos and broncolors and all those kinds of things. You can start out with simple tools. I did this shot we did yesterday right after we made the little round light. And you can see it's a pretty nice shot of 2 little clamps made with the $19 light that we put together. This is the PVC scrim. We'll bring that over. Brett, what we're doing is just using PVC pieces to create this unit. Thank you, sir. And as you can see, it's a nice big light. This is as big a light source as we're going to use. This is as big a light source as you would probably use for most of your product. Tabletop photography. You know, big 4x6 softboxes are really great, but they're so big you can't get under them to your product. So we created this. We use the 2 handles on the side where we can super clamp it and get the angles out of it. And you can also stand it up on a stand if you need to get it up like this. We Velcro everything together so that you can take it apart. We taped it. That's the finished frame. This is a cost of probably $10? Tops. $10 tops. And we got this. Now, there are places where you can buy these. I mean, does this look familiar? Okay, you can buy these. They're not $10. And Brett and I are actually, we're gonna actually pre-cut the PVCs and sell them for $350. That'll be a great deal for us. You put it all together. This is now mobile. So you can take this PVC thing on the road. We taped it up so it would last the whole weekend, but you can take this thing on the road and you take it out, take it apart, take a little bit of gaffer's tape when you get to the place, the location where you're gonna work, gaffer's tape it back together. It's very, very simple. That's a single sheet of shower curtain. And because it's Velcroed on, you could always put a second sheet on the back and double diffuse it. When you're doing it, here's Brett taping up the little PVC thing. When you're doing it with the Velcro, you want to put the sticky side of the Velcro, what's the hook? The hook side on the pipe. Because when you wash the hooks, they get all screwed up, right? But the soft side, you can then wash it. So if this thing gets dirty, you just take it off and wash it. If you put the hook side on this and you wash it a few times, it'll destroy it. So stretch it over there. By the way, we did steam it with a steamer. So a little steamer is a great tool to have. You must have a steamer in your kit, whether you shoot people or you shoot. How many of you have ever had a model show up with her clothes in a bag? Steamers are really important. You kind of go, they're in a bag. That's amazing. Well, here it is before it was steamed, so you can see we took those out. Because why? Who can tell me why we took the wrinkles out?
Because it adjusts the angle of reflection.
No, you're right. Because this is being seen. This is what's on the side of that wine bottle. I'd prefer it not to have a checkerboard pattern to it. So, you know, there are times when you'll actually see it. So try to keep it as flat as possible. And a steamer is a great way of doing it. We made a second one, which is the one we were using over here. And the same absolute stuff. Now, all of this was made from one shower curtain. And I think the shower curtain was the single largest expense
yeah, it's $10.
Yeah, that we incurred. And do we have that extra long? Well, I'll just show it up on here. Everybody's, this particular keynote is going out to everyone who signs up, right?
That's right. All you need to do is enroll for the course. Make sure you have a CreativeLIVE account, you're enrolled, log in, and you can download this.
Right.
And so that's great because this keynote is showing you how he went through and made all of these pieces.
And what I want to show you on this is one kind of, see how all of the corners are the same except this corner. You see that? I left this corner different so that we can do this with it. We can fly it with another piece of PVC. And you can also use a stiffer PVC. We're using the very cheap, I think, this is the same PVC that people use to build my house. Actually, this is the roofing material for my house. But you can use it, but you can now fly it. So you can use it as something up in the air as a flag or what have you. It becomes a very nice unit, and this is probably within that still that $10 cost. $10 for the shower curtain, $10 total for the PVC, and about $6 for the Velcro. That's just it. This shows Brett is actually screwing the corners of the wooden one there. These little wooden guys are really cool for the same reason that I like the PVC. I use a thicker board here. And I need to say something. I have in my studio, I have some very expensive lighting gear. I have Pro Photos, I've got some Octoboxes that are big and everything. I use these things in my studio all the time. Every product, still life shooter I know has this homemade stuff going on. So this is not an attempt to say, well, you know, you can build some crappy DIY stuff to get you through. No, this is real lighting gear, folks. I like it thick so I can put a second one on the back if I have to. And I'll just clamp it, clamp it, clamp it, clamp it, and put the light through it. But it's very, very easy to build. Mine actually has this little screw that comes out so I can actually put a longer board on it. And I make them about this size. This is pre-cut. This is the size of the wood that you can get at Home Depot. Easier to do that because when you ask them if they can cut it, the guy goes, I don't know. I think Floyd had the saw last. So he's actually putting it together because we use these at the corner. And that gives it rigidity. Drill it first so that the screws don't split the wood, because if they split the wood, it's now not ever going to be rigid. Drill it first and get those things on there. And then we just basically looped it and taped it with gaffer's tape. So it's a very simple build. The one I use in my studio, I've got 3 foot by 3 foot, double scrimmed, and I've been using it for probably 20 years. And it's shower curtain. It's old shower curtain. I replaced it probably 5, 6 years ago, because the shower curtains will start to yellow. You'll know it, because you'll see it.
Dawn, the PVC one definitely could be interchangeable, like if you're doing outside work with the sun, to put the black over for
Sure, you can,
flag
yeah.
outside.
And because it's Velcro, take a piece of black
Yeah.
card, put your Velcro on it, take the soft thing on, Velcro on the black, and you got a black flag.
Now the price went up.
Well, that's an option. It's the premier kit. And if you want me to sign it, that's really, we're up in the platinum area now. Very easy things to make, folks. Look at all the things we made. We probably spent about an hour and a half making all of what you see there. Very careful about edges when we're making these. Oh, and by the way, did you see how we finished off the edges here? Everything's real clean on these edges. Why? Because again, they show. This is going to be seen in the blender or the toaster or the whatever it is that we're shooting that's very shiny. Some things that we shoot aren't very shiny. We've got some very non-shiny objects over there, including a very cool old pig nose amp that John Cornicello sent over. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's not real shiny, so we get to create our highlights on that. And we'll be doing that this weekend as well. But yes, you got so much variety. We put the cloth on the front side and we shoot it this way. We don't shoot it this way because it's going to show. All the PVC writing, all the little black pieces of tape. Yes, you can use white pieces of tape, but, and Brett says, we should use white, but I said, no, I love the contrast. Reminds me of cows. I don't know. We used the oven material, which so far we've been able to guess is pretty close to daylight. There may be a little color cast, but we haven't been, I haven't been able to shoot it tethered and pull it and see it, but it's awfully close to daylight, so you're probably pretty good with it. It won't get hot. We put it on both sides of the foam core. It's pretty sheer, so you need 2 sheets of it. Separating it just by even a little bit adds just a little bit of diffusion, not a lot. But you could also do what? You could frame it with a board this thick, couldn't you? Put a frame around it, like that frame. Wooden frame on here. Make the back pure shower curtain and the front a smaller diffused surface and have one killer soft light, double diffused with a nice flat square shape to it. Building your own tools is kind of an exciting part of working with still life because there is no set of defined tools. Some of the things you're going to need, other than clamps, you're going to need little brushes. You're going to need those cans of air. A can of air.
It's like buying water.
Huh? Yeah. You're going to need those. You're going to need little spritzers. You're going to learn tricks. We're going to learn tricks. We're going to do this weekend, do a glass that looks frosted with water, but it's very, very cold and it's condensing, but it's not cold. It's not cold in this studio, but it's going to look cold because we can create all kinds of things with our light and the tools. We're going to learn a lot as we go through this. And as I said earlier, my goal for this workshop is to give everyone, whether you're an Etsy artist who would like to make better photographs of your work, or you're currently a wedding photographer who's been thinking maybe there's other ways to make income off of shooting product. I don't want you to just be able to take a picture of a thing. I want you to be able to think about what you're doing and make a really good picture of a thing. And that way you can increase your bottom line. So that's my goal. And if you stick with this workshop all 3 days, believe me, you're going to have it down. Really going to have it down. Questions from my studio audience? No? Okay. I got an assignment for everyone.
We're mesmerized.
No, you're sleeping. I got an assignment for everyone. Yes,
I do
there's
have a question.
Yes.
So the larger scrim with the PVC pipe in the middle, does that show through?
No, there's no PVC
Oh, there
pipe.
isn't?
No.
Okay.
It's coming out from the T on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll show you right there.
So you don't,
Yeah.
there's no chance of showing?
Nope, it doesn't show. And as I said, that's probably, that's one PVC pipe, normal PVC pipe cut in half, pretty much. That's, so how big do you make it? Buy a PVC pipe, cut it in half. That's how big you make it.
It's also pre-cut to 5 foot lengths.
Yes.
10 foot. So
Yeah.
start 5 foot squares.
A 5-foot square scrim is bigger than you're going to need. You might as well just have it, and it's just a perfect size. Now, here's something that's cool. You know what? You can shoot people with that too. You really can. You really can. If you watch if you watch the show that I did last time when Lori was here, we did a beautiful portrait with a Home Depot light through a shower curtain, and it was absolutely. She looked great.
It was one of my favorite setups.
Well, I love that polka dot dress. I told Bree, I said, you got to buy that polka dot dress. That's just awesome. So, any more questions from the group here?
I have a comment about this
Yes.
piece here. You could probably also make that with mat board, like mat that you would use inside of a frame. Could you do, you know what I mean? It's already cut.
If you doubled it, probably. The problem with mat boards are a little flimsy. This
Okay.
really holds its shape. If you had to stick this out on the edge of a stand like this, you see, or tilt it, it holds its shape where the mat board would just curl down. But if you double the mat board, it would probably be fine.
Okay, I think I was imagining a thicker mat board, so.
Well, if it's thick enough that
Yeah.
it'll hold like this, you have no problem. Yes.
Make
Then
it
it's pre-cut.
A little easier, yeah.
Sure.
But
Yeah, or you could actually glue a little frame around it if you wanted. Just get the little Home Depot has the little tiny pieces of wood that they use for shims, and just put a little shim square around it, and then it's not going anywhere. Just glue it. Part of what we do is everything is new. You get out on the set of that product shot, and it's like you're inventing the world again. It's so much fun to have all your tools there and to see the challenge of a toaster or a blender is a far different challenge than this jewelry. Far different, widely, vastly different challenge. But it's all part of the same realm, so it's kind of fun. It brings out the tinkerer, it brings out the artisan in you. It's not get to the studio, bam, 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 get the shots and get back. It's get to the studio, put on some Frank Sinatra and really loud, and make shots. So, questions from the internet?
Yeah, Art by Vita is wondering if you will speak at all about food photography during this course, like how to get texture and shadow, but also avoid hot spots on moist or dual textured products.
Well, this is going to be product and still life, but there's a place on creativeLIVE where you can say what instructor you'd like to come back to teach food photography. I would drive you to that particular page and mention it. We tried to stay away from food for this because food is in itself its own category, but everything you're going to learn you can apply to food photography. I guarantee you, shooting the apple up here is just like shooting pears. And when we wet it down and you see the difference in efficiency, and that's what he's talking about, when you see the difference in efficiency, that's where you just transfer it right over. I would recommend that he be, or she, be standing there shooting some food. Get your camera set up, get your little scrim made, get your food out there, and as we go through some of these things, try some of what we're doing. So my assignment for everyone watching tonight is go build one, even if it's just the oven. Can we show that? Do we have it? Where's that? We'll just show it. It's some sort of paper that you can get. You can get it at grocery stores. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was going to mention it was Penny De Los Santos was here teaching about food photography last year. So that course is still available.
Yes, absolutely. It's just paper. And it's really cheap. And like you said, go down to the art store and get a pre-cut mat board, or pick up a piece of foam core and a razor blade, make your little scrim, and start following along with us tomorrow with it. So that's the assignment. Each day, by the way, each day as we go through this, there's going to be assignments for folks to think about at the end of this thing. Because I'm going to talk a little bit at some point about how to use creativeLIVE's materials to really learn this stuff. More questions?
absolutely more questions. All right, let's see. Do you ever, question from Sam Cox in Loveland, Colorado. Do you ever use gobos to reflect shapes on shiny objects? Perhaps
Absolutely.
a gobo in the shape of a paned window, and also if you could tell folks what a gobo
A
is.
gobo is something that goes between, hence gobo, goes between the light and the subject. There's also a thing called a cookie, or for film people, cucoloris, a cookie, which is a shape, maybe like a leaf or something that can go in. Generally, they're shapes. A gobo is generally like a flag. In my big kit there's a Hanel flag. A flag is just what it is, like it sounds. You take this and you put it in front of the light and you flag it off. In the workshop keynote for tomorrow, we're actually going to show a shot where I actually use multiple flags around to drop the reflection of the main source to make it dark around the subject that I was shooting. Yes, very often, and that's one of the reasons why we need, is that the flag? No, the flag is just a little white on one side, black on the other. The point of flags are to block light or to create negative reflections. Remember, we were looking at the apple. The bottom of the apple wasn't a shadow anymore. It was a negative reflection. It was reflecting the dark surface. Sometimes we want to put something up so that shiny bottle actually has something dark to reflect. We use a lot of black boards in our shooting. Sometimes we need something black. Remember wasn't there a wine bottle that was white? Was it like Blue Nun or something? Was that? No, that was a blue bottle. It was a bottle of wine that was white. Yeah, I remember that bottle. When you light the white bottle up, what happens? It's white, right? The diffused color of the real value of that white bottle is white. So instead of putting white cards on the side to make it be brighter, we don't need brighter. We need darker. We would put black cards on the side, so now the white bottle wrapped around to black to separate it from the back. We're going to show you what I'm talking about. So if anyone on the internet's going, what did he just say? We're going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So when you're shooting something white, you'll know when to grab those black things. Questions? Any more?
Yeah, Billy Walker is wondering how critical is softbox size in reference to tabletop products? He already owns softboxes, but they are people size.
Now, in what size? People size? Let's say he's talking about a 3x4. That's just fine. I think probably for me, the bigger softboxes are much more problem than smaller softboxes. When I'm working on tabletop, I use my 2x2, and I use my 2x3, and I use my 1x4 strip light. And I have multiples. Every time I buy a lighting tool, by the way, whether it's a 2x2 softbox or whatever, I always buy two. Because there's times when I'm going to want two lights, and I want both of them to match. So that's kind of a rule of thumb to me. If you buy a 60-inch umbrella, buy a second one so that you can have two. There's going to be times when you need to have opposing lighting and you want them to be the same. And I spent too many years having a 60 over here and a 43 over here and having to try to struggle to make them look. They don't match. They're not the same. They're never going to be. So I think he's probably thinking that his softboxers are too small. Probably they're the right size if they're people size, but if they're huge, like 4x6s, that gets to be unwieldy. If you can imagine a 4x6 softbox over this jewelry, you'd have to reach under the softbox to get to it.
A couple more sort of, are we going to be covering these things?
Sure.
Questions. So from Kent, he shoots a lot of consumer electronics, HDMI switches, converters, etc. Wants to know how to make them look sexy.
Yes, yep, we are. Yes, stay tuned.
Fantastic.
Yes. Oh, that's really fun stuff too. You know what's really fun is when somebody gives you something really ugly and you give them back something really neat. They love you. All commercial photography is baby photography. It's all baby photography. That switch that the guy comes over with to give to you, that's his baby. That puts food on his family's table. It pays for his boat. It pays for his kids going to college. That's a real important artifact. That's his baby. Your job is to do the same thing as you would do with his kid. Make it look really good. And then he'll love you. And product folks, I've found product clients really tend to be very loyal. You work real well with them because they're not out looking for the next great thing like fashion. You know, it's like if you're not the hottest guy on the block, you know, you're always playing catch. They're not. They're just, boy, if you do a great job for them, they're back again and again and again. Yeah.
Digital Purpose is wondering if you can also show how to light something furry like a teddy bear. Seems hard to light correct.
I don't know if we have anything over there, but you know what? Stay tuned. We do have some felt shoes that are not furry like a teddy bear, but there. That's a good point. We will find something to add to the mix. We're going to be, this is a shooting workshop, folks. We're going to be showing you how to deal with everything from wet surfaces to shiny surfaces to blended surfaces. We're going to be doing all kinds of things. We don't have anything fuzzy. We'll get something fuzzy into the mix.